There's chaos in you.
So, I've been trying to get back into my Marvel phase recently. I've been watching Disney Plus series shows like Loki, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, So obviously I had to try out Moon Knight, and wow, first episode is a great introduction to the series. But today, we're not here to be a Twitter stan over Stephen Grant. We're here to determine if this is an accurate representation of plurality. Before we get started, I want to make it very, very clear that I am a tulpomancy system and not a D.I.D. system. There is a difference. However, I have done a ton of research on the topic and also consulted my fellow plural systems in the plural community. Plural systems really want to finally see D.I.D. accurately represented and normalized in the media.
Here is a question by Casey and Terry. We are a topomancy system of 2, and we wish to create an animated TV show with characters with D.I.D. in the future. What do you think are some key points to help represent D.I.D. systems in the media? That's a very good question. Could write an article about that. But on the top of my head, I'd say don't make us the villains. And if we are like villains, then make us the good villains. Like I said the other day, something like, I wouldn't mind a movie where someone with D.I.D. Goes after the bad guys. But the problem is that they always go after like innocent people, like in the movies. I don't want to mention the movies. Anyway, so not make us a villain or make us like the good villain. That's not English. What's the word? like a superhero idea. I think it's also important to just see people with D.I.D. in media represented without it being the main thing. Like many of these series or movies, like it's the main subject, and I think it could be a lot more interesting if it was just like normalized on the side instead of the spectacle of the show.
So obviously, if there's a main character in a Marvel series with D.I.D., a lot of plural systems out there are going to be very, very excited for this. The main criteria for D.I.D. goes as follows: possessing multiple identities as a result of significant childhood trauma, undergoes switching either periodically or frequently, shows signs of distress when switching, and has lapses in memory due to another alter being in control. As for relationships between alters, those can vary, meaning not everyone in the system has to get along with each other, though the plural community really wants to see a character who actually gets along with their system mates rather than fight them for control. Seeing this adapted into cinematography will be a huge step forward for the plural community, just as much as a step forward as you clicking that subscribe button to help our channel grow. Thanks a million. Obviously, the show is going to exaggerate D.I.D. for the camera, so of course it's not going to be 100% accurate. Like how whenever Steven switches, it appears that he falls asleep or passes out, which isn't exactly how switching works. It's more of like a cognitive thing than a physical thing. You can feel your personality, interest, and preferences shifting depending on who's in control. And most of the time, systems don't tend to get all over dramatic when they switch, like their eyes roll back and they start spasming or something. They'd probably just look really spaced out for a second before finally another alter takes control. That's kind of the dissociating part of dissociative identity disorder. Also in this show, Steven loses control of his body whenever he sleeps. When one alter goes to sleep, another alter doesn't just instantly take control of the body unless that alter is just generally afraid of sleeping or something. If the body needs rest, it seeks rest. Therefore, if one alter is tired, chances are when the other alter takes control, the body will still be physically tired. Sleep is important, guys. Another small side note, you don't actually hear your alters as if someone were talking into your ear. In the show, you often see moments where Steven looks around whenever he hears a voice in his head, as if he's trying to determine the source of the sound. When in reality, it would probably just sound like internal monologue. For those of you who don't know what internal monologue is, It's basically like the sound whenever you read something in your brain. You can hear it, but it's not as if it were spoken. More like you can interpret those brain signals to mean words or some crazy psychological babble like that. Other than that, this show does seem to be pretty positive about D.I.D. and aren't trying to make it sound like some sort of disorder for crazy people. That much I can give props for. We definitely need more plural positive media out there. And this is a huge step in the right direction. I, for one, can't wait to see Steven finally accept his plurality and grow to know his alters more closely. Maybe even they team up and work together to solve mysteries and fight crime. That'll be a really interesting dynamic to see. Maybe when they need somebody who's smart and can identify things that relate to ancient Egypt, they'll turn to Steven. And then when they need to punch someone in the face, they turn to Mark. Anyway, that's my take on Moon Knight's representation of plurality. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you guys think this series accurately portrays plurality and gives the idea a positive look for once? Also, are you enjoying the series so far? I know I am. Thanks a million for giving this video a watch. See you next time!